Have you ever faced a moment where everything seems to be falling apart? Or a time when you feel completely overwhelmed by life's challenges? Why does it feel like no matter how hard you try, things just don't go your way? These moments test our strength, but do they have to break us? Let me share a simple example. Imagine a tree standing tall in the middle of a storm. The winds are fierce, the rain is relentless, but the tree remains rooted. Its strength doesn't come from resisting the storm, but from its deep roots that hold it steady. Similarly, our strength comes not from avoiding life's challenges, but from being deeply rooted in our inner peace and understanding. Welcome to Wisdom Woven, where we explore the power of inner strength through the wisdom of Buddhism. In this video, we'll talk about how to stay strong, no matter what situation life throws at you. There are so many views on this channel, but only 0.2% subscribes. So, please like, comment, share, and subscribe to our channel. It helps us grow and bring more valuable content to you. Now, let's dive into the wisdom that can transform how you see tough times. Buddhism teaches that suffering is a natural part of life. We all face difficulties, but these hardships don't have to define us. Instead, they can be opportunities to grow, to become stronger, and to find peace within. By understanding the nature of suffering, we can begin to see our struggles in a different light. When we accept that challenges are inevitable, we stop resisting them and start finding ways to deal with them. This shift in perspective is the key to building inner strength. In the next sections of this video, we'll explore how mindfulness, impermanence, and meditation can help us stay strong, no matter what comes our way. So stay with us for insights that will help you navigate through life's storms with calmness and confidence. Understanding the nature of suffering. My friend, let us talk about suffering, for it is something that we all know too well. In our lives, suffering seems inevitable. It shows up in many forms, sometimes as sadness, sometimes as frustration, and sometimes as deep pain that seems too heavy to carry. But why do we suffer? And more importantly, how do we deal with it? Suffering is a reality of life, but it is not something we need to run away from. In fact, the more we try to escape it, the stronger its grip becomes. Buddhism teaches us that suffering comes from our attachments, our desire to hold on to things, people, or situations that are constantly changing. When we want things to be different than they are, or when we cling to the idea that life should always be pleasant, we create our own suffering. Now, take a moment to reflect. How often have you felt pain because something didn't go the way you expected? How often have you been disappointed because a moment of happiness didn't last as long as you wanted? This is the nature of suffering. Our expectations and attachments lead us down a path of disappointment. We suffer because we want life to be a certain way, but life, as it is, doesn't always follow our plans. Let me share a simple example with you. Imagine you are holding a rope tightly in your hands. You grip it so hard because you're afraid to let it go. But the longer you hold on, the more your hands hurt. The rope doesn't change. It's your tight grip that causes the pain. In the same way, the situations in life may not change, but our attachment to them, our need for them to be exactly how we want, brings suffering. Buddhism teaches that there is a way to understand and manage this suffering. The first step is recognizing it. This might seem like a simple thing, but how often do we truly acknowledge our pain? Often, we push it away or try to distract ourselves, but the pain remains beneath the surface, waiting to rise again. Instead of running from suffering, we must face it with a clear mind and an open heart. When we look at it directly, we can begin to understand where it comes from. One of the key teachings of Buddhism is the concept of dukkha, often translated as suffering or dissatisfaction. It is the idea that life, in its essence, is unsatisfactory because it is always changing. Nothing stays the same for long. Our health, our relationships, our wealth, even our moods. When we try to cling to any of these things as if they will last forever, we set ourselves up for suffering because change is the only constant. Think about the times in your life when you felt most at peace. Were those times when you had everything you wanted? Or were they moments when you accepted things as they were, without trying to control or change them? True peace doesn't come from avoiding suffering. It comes from accepting it, understanding it, and letting it be without letting it define us. Now, you might wonder, how can we possibly accept suffering when it feels so overwhelming? This is where the wisdom of the Buddha comes in. He taught that suffering is not something to be feared or avoided, but something to be understood. When we understand the nature of suffering, we can learn to live with it in a way that doesn't destroy our peace. Suffering often feels like a storm, doesn't it? When we're caught in it, it's hard to see anything else. But what if we could step outside the storm and observe it from a distance? This is what mindfulness teaches us, to observe our suffering without becoming consumed by it. When we step back and simply notice our feelings, we realize that they are just that, feelings. They come, they stay for a while, and then they go. Just like clouds passing through the sky, our suffering passes too. But to reach this understanding, we need to cultivate awareness. We must train our minds to see things as they are, not as we wish them to be. The Buddha once said that pain is inevitable, but suffering is optional. What does this mean? It means that while we cannot avoid the pain that life brings, like the loss of a loved one or the failure of a dream, we can choose how we respond to that pain. We can choose to either resist it, which only increases our suffering, or we can choose to accept it, which brings peace. Acceptance doesn't mean giving up or being passive. It means seeing things clearly and responding with wisdom. When we accept suffering, we stop fighting against reality. We stop wishing for things to be different and start seeing them as they are. This doesn't mean we don't work to improve our lives or the lives of others. It simply means that we do so without attachment, without expecting that things will always go our way. Let's return to the example of the rope. When you loosen your grip, the pain in your hand starts to fade. You don't need to let go completely if you're not ready, but just easing up on your hold can bring relief. In the same way, we don't need to rid ourselves of all desires or attachments at once. Even small steps toward letting go can bring great peace. The Buddha also taught about the causes of suffering, which are known as the three poisons: greed, hatred, and ignorance. These poisons cloud our judgment and keep us trapped in a cycle of suffering. Greed makes us want more than we need, hatred makes us push away what we don't like, and ignorance keeps us from seeing things as they truly are. The good news is that we can free ourselves from these poisons. With mindfulness and wisdom, we can learn to recognize when greed, hatred, or ignorance are driving our actions, and we can choose a different path. We can choose compassion instead of hatred, generosity instead of greed, and clarity instead of ignorance. As we move through life, suffering will continue to appear, but it doesn't have to overwhelm us. By understanding its nature and causes, we can meet suffering with a calm and open mind. We can endure life's challenges not by resisting them, but by embracing them as opportunities for growth. Remember, suffering is not a punishment, it's a teacher. It shows us where we are attached and where we need to let go. When we see suffering as a guide rather than an enemy, it loses its power over us. Instead of being something to fear, suffering becomes a doorway to wisdom, strength, and inner peace. In the next part, we'll explore the practice of mindfulness and how it can help us stay grounded in the face of life's challenges. But for now, remember this: suffering is not the end. It is a beginning of deeper understanding, a beginning of inner strength, and a beginning of true peace. Suffering, when understood, can become the very foundation of our growth. So, let's walk this path with open hearts, knowing that through suffering, we can find our way to peace. The role of mindfulness in tough times. Ah, you've come again, seeking guidance on how to stay strong when life feels overwhelming. Today, I want to share something very close to the heart of Buddhist practice: mindfulness. You may have heard the word before, perhaps in many contexts, but do you know the true power it holds, especially in tough times? Let me tell you, mindfulness is not just a word or a technique. It is a way of living that can transform your experience of life. When we think about strength, we often imagine force, control, or willpower. But true strength comes from something much quieter: awareness. This awareness is cultivated through mindfulness, which simply means being fully present in the moment, without judgment, without resistance. It sounds simple, doesn't it? Yet, in a world that constantly pulls us in 1,000 directions, being fully present can be one of the most difficult things to do. When life feels like it's falling apart, the mind tends to drift into two places: the past, where regrets and old wounds live, or the future, where anxiety and fear of the unknown take over. The present moment, which is the only real place we can exist, becomes a ghost, overlooked and forgotten. But here's the truth. Strength can only be found in the present. It is in this moment, right now, that we have the power to respond, to breathe, to choose how we react to the storms around us. Mindfulness is about bringing our wandering mind back to the present moment again and again. It's like training a wild animal. At first, the mind will resist. It will want to escape into memories of the past or worries about the future. But with patience and practice, the mind becomes more stable, more grounded in the here and now. And when the mind is stable, we become strong, no matter what chaos surrounds us. Think about it this way. Imagine you are standing in a river. The current is strong, pulling you this way and that. If you are constantly trying to fight the current, resisting it, you will exhaust yourself. But if you become mindful, if you observe the flow of the water without resistance, you will find that you can stand strong, even in the middle of the river. The current may still be there, but it no longer controls you. You have become the observer, not the victim of the flow. This is the essence of mindfulness. It allows us to observe our thoughts, emotions, and experiences without being swept away by them. When tough times come, and they will come, mindfulness gives us the space to pause and reflect before reacting. It creates a gap between the experience and our response, and in that gap lies our freedom and our strength. You see, it's not the challenges themselves that overwhelm us, but our reaction to them. Mindfulness teaches us that we don't have to react to everything that happens. We can choose to simply observe, to acknowledge what is happening, and to respond from a place of calm and clarity rather than fear or anger. This doesn't mean we ignore our problems or pretend they don't exist. It means we face them with an open heart and a steady mind. Let me share a story. There was once a wise monk who lived in a small village. Every day, he would walk to the market to collect food and supplies. One day, a fierce storm hit the village. The wind howled, the rain poured, and the roads became rivers of mud. The villagers watched from their windows, certain that the monk would not venture out in such a storm. But to their surprise, the monk put on his sandals, grabbed his walking stick, and calmly set out for the market as usual. When he returned, completely drenched, a young man asked him, "Master, how could you walk through such a terrible storm without fear?" The monk smiled and said, "The storm is only terrible if you believe it is. I simply accepted the rain and the wind as they were, without resisting them. In that acceptance, I found peace." This story illustrates the power of mindfulness. The monk didn't ignore the storm. He didn't pretend it wasn't happening. He accepted it fully, and in that acceptance, he remained strong. The same applies to our own lives. We can't always control the storms that come our way, but we can control how we respond to them. Mindfulness helps us respond with wisdom and strength, instead of panic or frustration. When tough times come, practice this. Take a deep breath, close your eyes, and feel the present moment. Notice your breath, the sensations in your body, the thoughts in your mind. Don't judge them, don't fight them, just observe. This simple act of mindfulness will bring you back to the present, grounding you in the reality of the here and now. And from this place, you will find the strength to face whatever challenges lie ahead. Mindfulness is not just for moments of peace and calm. It is most powerful when life feels chaotic and difficult. When emotions run high and stress seems unbearable, mindfulness brings us back to ourselves, reminding us that we are not defined by our circumstances. We are not the storm. We are the observer of the storm. And in that realization, we find our true strength. The beauty of mindfulness is that it is always available to us. No matter where we are, no matter what we are going through, we can always come back to the present moment. We can always take a breath and ground ourselves in the here and now. This is a skill that, once developed, will serve you for the rest of your life. It is a source of strength that no one can take away from you. So, as you move forward in your journey, remember this. Mindfulness is your anchor. In tough times, it will keep you steady. In moments of doubt, it will give you clarity. In times of stress, it will provide you with peace. It is through mindfulness that you will find the strength to face life's challenges, not with fear, but with calm and confidence. Life will always have its ups and downs, but with mindfulness, you can navigate these changes with grace. When you are fully present, you become strong, not because you can control the world around you, but because you have learned to control your own mind. And that, my dear friend, is the greatest strength of all. In the next part, we will explore another key teaching of Buddhism, impermanence, the idea that everything in life is constantly changing. But for now, take a moment to practice mindfulness. Breathe deeply, observe your thoughts, and know that in this moment, you are strong. Impermanence. Everything is temporary. Impermanence. One of the most important teachings in Buddhism, and yet, something that can be difficult for us to accept. As a Zen master, I invite you to sit quietly for a moment and reflect on this truth. Everything changes, nothing lasts forever. Whether it is the seasons, our emotions, or the circumstances of our lives, everything is in a state of constant movement, flowing like a river that never stops. We often try to hold on to things, our happiness, our possessions, our loved ones. We think if we can just keep them close, they will never change. But the truth is, no matter how tightly we grasp, everything in life is impermanent. This isn't something to fear. Rather, it's something to understand deeply, because it frees us from suffering. When we resist impermanence, when we try to cling to things as if they are permanent, we create suffering for ourselves. Think about it. We become upset when things don't go the way we expect them to. We become anxious when we feel a relationship is changing. We become frustrated when we lose something we've worked hard for. But if we can accept that change is a natural part of life, we will stop being so shocked and upset by it. Let me share with you a simple analogy. Imagine a beautiful flower in full bloom. It is vibrant, colorful, and full of life. But you know that in time, the petals will fall and the flower will wither. This is the nature of the flower's life. If you spend all your time worrying about when the flower will fade, you'll miss the joy of its beauty right now. You'll miss the opportunity to appreciate its fragrance, its delicate form. In the same way, life is filled with beautiful moments. But if we focus only on when they will end, we forget to live fully in the present. Impermanence also teaches us that difficult times will not last forever. Just as happiness is fleeting, so too are our struggles. When you are in the midst of a challenging situation, it can feel like the hardship will never end. But remind yourself that everything changes. Just as the storm eventually clears, so too will your difficult moments. No situation is permanent. This knowledge alone can give us the strength to endure hard times with patience and calm. Buddhism encourages us to see this constant flow of change as an opportunity. When we stop resisting impermanence, we can start to live with more peace and acceptance. Instead of clinging to things or fearing change, we can embrace the present moment for what it is and knowing that it, too, will pass. This perspective frees us from the anxiety of loss and helps us to appreciate what we have while we have it. Now, think of your own life. Are there things you are clinging to, wishing they would never change? Maybe it's a relationship, a job, or even a feeling of comfort. What would happen if you accepted that these things will not last forever? How would your attitude shift if you embraced the reality of impermanence? Would you worry less? Would you enjoy the present moment more? Impermanence can also be a source of great hope. No matter how difficult your current situation may be, it will not last forever. Change is always happening, even if we cannot see it in the moment. The clouds may cover the sun, but they will eventually pass, revealing the bright sky once again. This is the natural rhythm of life, and it is something we can trust. As we live with the understanding of impermanence, we begin to let go of the need to control everything around us. Control is an illusion. We cannot hold back the flow of life, no matter how hard we try. What we can do is learn to ride the waves of change with grace, knowing that everything is temporary, both the good and the bad. This realization brings a deep sense of peace. When you are no longer tied to the idea that things must stay the same, you can begin to appreciate life as it is. You can savor each moment, each experience, without the anxiety of trying to keep it forever. This is a powerful way to live, free from the chains of attachment and fear. One of the greatest gifts of accepting impermanence is that it opens us up to compassion. When we understand that everyone around us is also experiencing the flow of change, the highs and the lows, the joy and the pain, we can be more kind to others. We realize that everyone is on this same journey, facing their own struggles, their own moments of loss. This understanding softens our hearts and allows us to connect more deeply with others. In Buddhism, the idea of impermanence is not just about accepting the loss of things or the end of good times. It's about recognizing that change is an essential part of growth. Without change, we cannot evolve. Without the cycles of life, we would remain stuck. Impermanence pushes us forward, challenges us to adapt, and helps us grow into wiser, more compassionate beings. Take a moment to reflect on how you can embrace impermanence in your life. The next time you face a challenge, remind yourself that it, too, will pass. The next time you feel joy, appreciate it fully, knowing that it is a fleeting moment to be cherished. And when you find yourself clinging to something, gently remind yourself that everything is temporary, and in this, there is great freedom. As we move forward in this journey of staying strong, no matter what life throws at us, remember that impermanence is not something to fear. It is a truth that can guide us toward a deeper understanding of ourselves and the world around us. When we accept that everything changes, we can begin to live more freely, more fully, and with more compassion for ourselves and others. This understanding of impermanence is a cornerstone of strength. When we know that nothing lasts forever, we stop wasting energy on resisting the inevitable, and instead, we focus on what truly matters, living with wisdom, love, and presence. Let this be a source of strength for you, now and always. Building resilience through meditation. In life, challenges will come, and no one is exempt from hardship. But the key to staying strong lies not in avoiding these challenges, but in how we face them. As a tree grows stronger when it withstands the winds, so too do we grow stronger when we face life's difficulties with a calm and steady mind. Resilience is not something you are born with. It is something you build, like a muscle. And one of the most powerful ways to build resilience is through meditation. You may wonder, how can sitting still help me face life's storms? Let me share with you the truth of it. Meditation is not about escaping from your problems. It's about training your mind to stay calm and clear, even when the world around you is chaotic. Imagine a lake on a windy day. The surface ripples and waves, but beneath that, the water remains still and deep. Meditation helps you access that stillness inside yourself. Even when the winds of life blow hard, your inner self remains undisturbed. Now, how does this relate to resilience? Life is full of moments where we feel pushed around by our circumstances. Stress, uncertainty, loss. When we are caught up in these feelings, it's like being swept up by the waves on the surface of the lake. Meditation teaches us to step back from that turbulence, to observe it without being dragged under. Through daily practice, we learn that thoughts and emotions come and go, like waves on the surface. They are temporary, not permanent. This realization brings strength. When we stop identifying with every thought or feeling, we stop being controlled by them. Meditation is like building a shelter within yourself, a place where no matter what happens outside, you can always return to peace. Let me guide you through a simple approach to meditation that you can practice. First, find a quiet place where you won't be disturbed. Sit comfortably, with your back straight but relaxed. Now, close your eyes and focus on your breath. Feel the air as it enters your body and leaves again. Don't try to change the rhythm of your breath. Just observe it as it naturally flows. As you do this, thoughts will come into your mind about what you need to do later, about something that bothered you yesterday, about how you're feeling right now. This is normal. The goal is not to stop thinking, but to notice when a thought arises and gently let it go, like a leaf floating downstream. Return your focus to your breath. This simple practice, when done consistently, builds a kind of inner muscle. Each time you let go of a thought and return to your breath, you strengthen your ability to stay present. Over time, this mindfulness helps you in everyday life. When a stressful situation arises, you can pause, breathe, and respond with calm rather than reacting with panic or anger. This is how resilience is built, moment by moment. But meditation doesn't only help during the practice itself. Its effects spill over into every part of your life. Imagine you are in the middle of a difficult situation at work, or dealing with a family issue that feels overwhelming. If you have been practicing meditation, you will notice that instead of being swept up in the emotions of the moment, you can step back. You'll be able to see the situation more clearly, without being clouded by fear or frustration. This clarity allows you to make better decisions. You are no longer acting out of impulse, but from a place of wisdom and balance. You can approach challenges with a steady mind, which not only benefits you but also those around you. People will notice the calm you carry within yourself, and that calmness is contagious. Meditation also deepens your understanding of impermanence. In life, nothing stays the same forever. The highs, the lows, they are all temporary. When you meditate, you witness the changing nature of your thoughts and emotions, and this helps you understand that even the toughest situations in life will pass. This knowledge brings great strength because you know that no matter how difficult things seem, they won't last forever. Meditation teaches us patience and endurance. Another important aspect of resilience is self-compassion. Often, when we go through tough times, we are hard on ourselves. We blame ourselves for not being strong enough, for feeling weak or afraid. But through meditation, we learn to be kind to ourselves. When you sit in stillness, you see yourself clearly. Not just your thoughts, but your fears, your hopes, your vulnerabilities. And in seeing them, you can begin to accept them without judgment. This self-compassion is vital for resilience. It's like watering a plant so that it can grow. When you are kind to yourself, you create the space for healing and growth. You understand that it's okay to feel pain. It's okay to struggle. These are part of the human experience, and they don't make you weak, they make you real. With this understanding, you become stronger because you stop fighting against yourself. Resilience through meditation is not about toughening up or suppressing your emotions. It's about building a deep well of inner strength that you can draw from in times of need. It's about knowing that no matter what happens, you have a place of peace within you that cannot be shaken by external circumstances. In Buddhism, this inner strength is a reflection of our true nature. Beneath the surface of our everyday struggles, there is a deeper truth, a state of calm, clarity, and compassion. Meditation helps us connect with this truth and live from it, rather than being tossed around by the winds of life. The more you meditate, the more you will notice this strength growing within you. It may start as a small flicker, but over time it becomes a steady flame, guiding you through even the darkest times. This is the gift of meditation. It gives you the power to remain strong, no matter what situation you face. As you continue to build this resilience, remember that it's not about perfection. Some days, your mind will feel scattered, and it may seem like you're making no progress. But each time you sit down to meditate, you are nurturing that inner strength little by little. Trust in the process, and know that even in the moments of struggle, you are growing. So, keep practicing. Keep building that strength within. And when life's storms come, and they will, you will find that you are rooted, like the tree that stands tall in the wind, unshaken by the world around it. This is the power of resilience through meditation, detachment, letting go of what you can't control. Ah, my dear friend, you have come to this point in your journey where the heart yearns for peace, but the mind struggles to let go. Detachment is not about turning away from the world. It is about seeing things clearly, holding them lightly, and releasing what you cannot control. This is a lesson that life teaches us again and again, yet many do not grasp it. Today, let us reflect deeply on what it means to let go. Imagine holding a rope tightly in your hands. At first, it may feel secure, but the longer you grip it, the more your hands hurt. The tension builds, and eventually, you realize that the pain does not come from the rope itself, but from how tightly you are holding onto it. Life is much the same. We grasp at situations, people, and outcomes, thinking that our hold will give us control. But often, it only brings suffering. To let go is to ease that grip, to recognize that true strength comes not from control but from surrender. You see, life is constantly moving, changing like the wind. The more we try to control it, the more we suffer. Detachment in Buddhism is not about withdrawing or caring less. It is about understanding that everything in life is impermanent. The situations we face today, whether they bring joy or sorrow, will pass. Clinging to them, however, keeps us stuck. The key is learning to engage fully with life, while also being ready to release our hold when the time comes. There is a great misunderstanding about detachment. Many think it means indifference or coldness, but in truth, Detachment is a form of wisdom, a gentle release of what binds us. It allows us to live freely, without the burden of expectations. When we accept that we cannot control everything, we find peace. The storms of life no longer shake us because we have learned to stand in the center, calm and unshaken. Take, for example, the ocean. Its waves crash violently against the shore, rising and falling in endless cycles. But deep beneath the surface, the ocean remains still, undisturbed by the waves above. This is the essence of detachment. We cannot stop the waves, but we can find stillness within ourselves, even as they rise and fall. The practice of detachment invites us to live like the deep ocean, steady and peaceful, regardless of the surface storms. As you move through life, notice how often you try to control outcomes. We think, if only I could make this happen, or if only this person would change, I would be happy. But this is a trap, my friend. The more you chase control, the more you lose yourself in the chase. Realize this: control is an illusion. We can influence, we can take action, but the outcome is never fully in our hands. The moment you understand this is the moment you are free. In Buddhism, we often speak of attachment as the root of suffering. This attachment comes in many forms. We attach to people, to desires, to expectations of how life should be. When life does not unfold the way we imagined, we suffer. Detachment, on the other hand, is the path to freedom. It does not mean that we stop caring. It means we care without being enslaved by our desires. We can love without clinging, work without being consumed by success or failure, and live without the constant need for things to go our way. Letting go is not easy. The mind is always seeking control, trying to mold life according to its wishes. But when we let go, we discover a deeper truth, that life flows best when we stop fighting it. There is a natural rhythm to the universe, a balance that we can only find when we release our need to control every detail. Trust this rhythm. Trust that life knows what it is doing, even when you cannot see the full picture. You may wonder, how can we practice detachment? The answer lies in awareness. Start by observing how often you resist the flow of life. Notice the moments when you feel tense, anxious, or frustrated. These are signs that you are holding on too tightly, trying to control what cannot be controlled. In these moments, pause, breathe deeply, and remind yourself that you do not need to force life to fit your expectations. Let go, and let life unfold in its own time. Another way to practice detachment is through meditation. When we sit in stillness, we begin to see the thoughts and emotions that control us. Meditation teaches us to observe without getting caught up in the drama of the mind. We learn to let thoughts come and go, like clouds passing through the sky. This practice helps us cultivate detachment, not only in meditation, but also in daily life. We become more aware of our attachments and learn to release them, little by little. As you walk this path, remember, detachment is not something you achieve overnight. It is a gradual process, a skill that grows stronger with time and practice. Be patient with yourself. Each moment of letting go, no matter how small, is a victory. And with each release, you will find that life becomes lighter, more peaceful. Letting go is an act of trust. Trust in yourself, trust in the process, and trust that life will carry you where you need to go. It is like floating in a river. You do not need to fight the current. You simply need to allow it to take you. This does not mean you give up on your dreams or desires. It means you pursue them with an open hand, knowing that whatever comes, you will be okay. Finally, detachment teaches us one of the most profound lessons of all, that our true strength does not come from controlling life, but from accepting it as it is. When we let go of our need to control, we open ourselves to the beauty and wisdom that life offers us. We become like that tree in the storm, deeply rooted and unshaken, no matter how fierce the winds blow. So, my dear friend, take this moment to reflect. What are you holding on to that no longer serves you? What would happen if you loosened your grip, even just a little? The freedom you seek is not in controlling the external world, but in releasing your attachment to it. Detach, let go, and you will find that the strength you have been seeking has been within you all along. The power of compassion in overcoming challenges. In the stillness of the heart, there lies a powerful force, compassion. It is a gentle strength that can carry us through the hardest of times. When we face difficulties, it is easy to turn inward, to focus on our pain and struggles. But true strength comes from looking outward and recognizing the shared experience of suffering among all beings. Imagine a small candle in a dark room. Alone, it flickers, but when we light another candle with its flame, the light spreads. This is how compassion works. When we reach out to others, even in our pain, we create a warmth that can uplift not just ourselves but everyone around us. Compassion begins with understanding. When we see someone struggling, it can remind us of our own challenges. We must ask ourselves, what if I were in their shoes? This simple shift in perspective helps us connect with others. It allows us to feel their pain and share in their journey. By doing this, we open our hearts to the suffering of others, and in turn, we lighten our own burden. Buddhism teaches us about the interconnectedness of all life. Each of us is like a thread in a vast tapestry. When one thread is pulled, the entire tapestry feels the strain. When we practice compassion, we strengthen not only ourselves but also the fabric of our communities. Think of the lotus flower. It blooms beautifully, even in muddy waters. It is a symbol of resilience and purity. Similarly, compassion allows us to rise above our challenges. It reminds us that even in the messiness of life, we can find beauty and connection. When facing obstacles, we might feel anger or frustration. These emotions are natural, but if we let them take control, they can lead us to isolation. Instead, we can pause, take a deep breath, and invite compassion into our hearts. What would happen if, in moments of challenge, we chose kindness over anger? Instead of lashing out, we could offer understanding. Instead of closing ourselves off, we could reach out. Compassion acts as a bridge, connecting us to others and helping us find common ground. In our daily lives, we can practice compassion in small ways. A kind word to a stranger, a smile to someone who looks down, or simply being present for a friend in need can have a ripple effect. These small gestures remind us that we are not alone in our struggles. When we cultivate compassion, we begin to transform our pain into purpose. Our challenges become lessons that teach us empathy. The more we understand suffering, the more we want to alleviate it. Buddhism emphasizes the practice of loving kindness, metta. This is not just a feeling but an action. It means wishing happiness for others, even when we face our own storms. When we extend loving kindness, we not only heal others but also ourselves. There will be times when it feels difficult to be compassionate. We might feel overwhelmed by our struggles or consumed by our own feelings. In these moments, remember the importance of self-compassion. It is okay to acknowledge our pain. It is okay to give ourselves grace. By being kind to ourselves, we can then be kinder to others. Let's practice a moment of loving kindness together. Close your eyes and take a deep breath. Picture someone you care about. Imagine sending them warmth, love, and understanding. Now, picture someone you find challenging. Can you offer them the same compassion? With each breath, let go of judgment and invite kindness into your heart. As we strengthen our compassionate hearts, we build resilience. Life's challenges may still come, but with compassion, we have the tools to navigate them. We learn to turn pain into power and sorrow into strength. In difficult times, remember the candle, share your light, be that source of warmth for others. By fostering compassion, we create a community of support, lifting each other during hardships. Together, we can overcome any challenge. As we move forward, let compassion guide our actions. Let it remind us that we are all in this together. With every step, we can choose to spread kindness and understanding. Let us embrace the power of compassion, for it is a true source of strength. In this journey, we will not only overcome challenges, but also find joy and connection along the way. Together, we can rise above and shine brightly, illuminating the path for ourselves and others, cultivating patience and endurance. In the quiet depths of the forest, a small seed lies beneath the soil. It waits. Days turn into weeks, and weeks into months. The seed does not rush. It understands the rhythm of nature. It knows that growth takes time. As seasons change, the seed absorbs the nourishment of the earth, slowly pushing its way through the dirt. Finally, it breaks the surface, emerging as a tiny sprout, ready to greet the sun. This patience is what we can learn from nature. Life often throws challenges our way, and during these moments, we might feel tempted to give up. But like the seed, we must remember that everything unfolds in its own time. Patience is not simply about waiting. It's about how we wait. When we cultivate patience, we learn to embrace the present moment, no matter how difficult it may be. Imagine a river flowing over stones. At first, the water may seem frustrated as it encounters obstacles, but instead of fighting against the stones, it flows around them, carving a path through the landscape. This is endurance, adapting and moving forward despite the challenges we face. In our lives, we can choose to be like the river, allowing our experiences to shape us rather than defeat us. In Buddhism, we learn that patience and endurance are intertwined. Patience gives us the strength to endure life's trials, while endurance teaches us to be patient. This dance between the two is essential for our growth. When we encounter hardship, it can feel heavy, but with patience, we can bear that weight. We can take each day as it comes, trusting that change will come. Consider a time when you faced a difficult situation. Perhaps it was a personal struggle, a loss, or a period of uncertainty. In those moments, how did you respond? Did you rush to find a solution, or did you take a step back and allow yourself to breathe? When we take a breath and center ourselves, we give space for clarity to arise. Patience invites us to trust in the process of life. It reminds us that not everything needs to be resolved immediately. When we let go of the need for instant results, we open ourselves up to the beauty of the journey. Each step we take, no matter how small, is a part of our growth. Each moment spent waiting can become a moment of reflection and understanding. To cultivate patience, we can start by practicing mindfulness. Mindfulness teaches us to be present, to observe our thoughts and feelings without judgment. When we practice being present, we become aware of our impatience. We notice the urge to rush, to push through discomfort. In that awareness, we can choose to breathe deeply and ground ourselves in the moment. Meditation is another powerful tool for building patience. When we sit in silence, we learn to quiet our minds and focus on our breath. As thoughts come and go, we practice letting them be. This act of allowing helps us understand that just as thoughts are temporary, so too are our struggles. In meditation, we can find a sense of peace that carries us through our daily lives. Endurance, too, is strengthened through practice. Just as a muscle grows stronger with use, our capacity to endure increases the more we face challenges. We can start small, confronting minor difficulties with courage. Each time we meet a challenge, we gain confidence. Over time, we build resilience, preparing ourselves for bigger obstacles. As we cultivate patience and endurance, we begin to view challenges as opportunities. Instead of seeing a setback as a failure, we recognize it as a chance to learn and grow. This shift in perspective is powerful. It allows us to approach life with a sense of curiosity rather than fear. What can I learn from this? How can this make me stronger? Life will always present obstacles, but it is our response that defines our journey. When we face challenges with patience and endurance, we transform our struggles into stepping stones. We learn to trust in ourselves in the process of life. Just as the seed grows into a mighty tree, we too can emerge from our difficulties stronger and wiser. In this journey, remember to be gentle with yourself. Growth is not a race. It is a gradual unfolding. Celebrate the small victories along the way. Each moment of patience is a triumph. Each act of endurance is a testament to your strength. As you continue on this path, take time to reflect on your experiences. How have patience and endurance played a role in your life? What lessons have you learned from the challenges you've faced? In understanding our journeys, we find the wisdom to move forward. Let the teachings of patience and endurance guide you. Embrace the moments of waiting and the struggles that come your way. They are not just obstacles, they are part of your growth. With each challenge, you have the opportunity to cultivate a deeper strength within yourself. Trust in the process and know that, like the seed, you too will emerge from the darkness into the light, ready to embrace all that life has to offer. Finding peace amidst chaos. In a world that often feels chaotic, it is easy to become overwhelmed. Noise surrounds us, traffic, voices, and the constant buzz of information. How do we find peace in this turmoil? The answer lies within us. Imagine a calm lake. The surface is smooth, reflecting the sky. Now think of a stone thrown into that lake. The water ripples and shakes. This is like our minds when chaos enters. We feel disturbed, and our thoughts scatter. But just like the lake, we can return to calmness. The first step to finding peace is recognizing when chaos arises. Pay attention to your thoughts and feelings. Are they racing? Do you feel anxious or upset? Acknowledge these feelings without judgment. It is okay to feel this way. It shows you are alive and aware. Awareness is the first step towards inner peace. Next, breathe. Take a moment to focus on your breath. Inhale deeply, filling your lungs with air. Hold it for a moment. Then exhale slowly, letting go of tension. Feel how your body responds to this simple act. With each breath, you create space within yourself, a space where peace can grow. Meditation is a powerful tool for finding calm. Sit comfortably and close your eyes. Visualize a peaceful place, a quiet forest, a gentle stream, or a cozy room. Imagine yourself there, feeling safe and serene. Allow your mind to rest in this place. Whenever thoughts of chaos enter, gently guide your focus back to this peaceful image. This practice helps quiet the mind and connect you to your inner stillness. As we navigate through life, we encounter challenges. Instead of resisting them, embrace them. Understand that challenges can teach us valuable lessons. Each difficult situation is an opportunity to grow stronger. When chaos surrounds you, ask yourself, what can I learn from this? This shift in perspective allows you to find meaning even in tough times. Another way to find peace is to simplify your life. Look around you. Are there things that clutter your space and mind? Let go of what you no longer need. This could be physical items or even relationships that drain your energy. Creating a peaceful environment allows your mind to reflect that calmness. Practice gratitude. In the midst of chaos, it is easy to focus on what is wrong. Shift your attention to what is right. Each day, take a moment to reflect on what you are grateful for. This can be as simple as a warm cup of tea or a kind word from a friend. Gratitude helps us see the beauty in our lives, even during difficult times. When we experience chaos, we often forget to care for ourselves. Make self-care a priority. Engage in activities that nourish your body and soul. This could be reading, walking in nature, or spending time with loved ones. When we take care of ourselves, we build resilience against chaos. Moreover, connect with others. In times of turmoil, we might feel isolated. Reach out to friends or family. Share your thoughts and feelings. A supportive community can provide comfort and understanding. Remember, you are not alone in this journey. Letting go is essential for finding peace. We often cling to past events or worry about the future. However, holding on to these thoughts creates internal chaos. Practice letting go by focusing on the present moment. What is happening right now? Engage with your surroundings. Feel the ground beneath your feet. Listen to the sounds around you, and notice the air on your skin. This practice of mindfulness anchors you in the present and helps release the weight of past and future worries. Finally, embrace impermanence. Everything in life is temporary: joy, sorrow, chaos, and calm. This understanding can bring a sense of peace. When we realize that difficult moments will pass, we can face them with a clearer mind. Remember, just like the waves in the ocean, our emotions rise and fall. It is natural. Embrace the ebb and flow of life. In conclusion, finding peace amidst chaos is a journey. It requires practice, awareness, and a willingness to let go. By incorporating mindfulness, simplifying your life, practicing gratitude, and embracing community, you can cultivate a deep sense of calm. Remember, peace is not a destination. It is a way of being. Let this journey guide you back to your inner lake, where tranquility awaits, even in the midst of life's storms. The importance of right understanding and perspective. In the journey of life, understanding is like a guiding star. It helps us navigate through the darkness and confusion that often surrounds us. Imagine being in a dense fog. You can't see ahead clearly, and every step feels uncertain. Now, think of how comforting it would be to have a light guiding your way. This light is the right understanding and perspective. Right understanding begins with knowing that life is full of changes. Everything we hold dear, Whether it's our happiness, our relationships, or even our own selves, is subject to change. This is the nature of existence. When we accept that change is inevitable, we can find peace in the midst of chaos. We learn to let go of our attachment to how things should be and embrace what is. In Buddhism, this understanding is often reflected in the Four Noble Truths. The first truth teaches us that suffering exists. It's a part of life. The second truth reveals the cause of suffering, which is our attachment and desire for things to remain as they are. When we cling to these desires, we set ourselves up for disappointment. The third truth offers hope. It tells us that there is a way to end suffering. And the fourth truth shows us the path to achieve this, the Eightfold Path. The Eightfold Path guides us toward right understanding. It encourages us to view situations clearly, without the cloud of our emotions distorting reality. Imagine wearing glasses that allow you to see things as they truly are. With right understanding, we can recognize our thoughts and feelings for what they are, temporary and ever-changing. This awareness helps us not to get swept away by our emotions during difficult times. When faced with challenges, try to step back and look at the situation from a distance. Ask yourself, what can I learn from this? How can I grow? Often, when we shift our perspective, we can find solutions that were hidden from us in our initial reaction. This shift is not easy, but it is essential for developing resilience. A story from the life of the Buddha illustrates this beautifully. One day, a man came to the Buddha, filled with anger and frustration. He was upset with a friend who had wronged him. The Buddha asked him, "If you carry a burning coal in your hand, who gets burned?" The man replied, "I do." The Buddha smiled gently and said, "Just as you suffer by holding on to your anger, so too do you suffer by holding on to your desire for things to be different." This teaching encourages us to release our anger and resentment, allowing us to see the bigger picture. Having the right perspective allows us to approach life's difficulties with a sense of curiosity rather than fear. When we encounter a setback, instead of viewing it as a failure, we can see it as an opportunity to learn and grow. Each challenge can teach us something valuable about ourselves and the world around us. Remember, the mind is like a garden. If we plant seeds of negativity and despair, we will harvest the fruits of sorrow. But if we cultivate seeds of understanding and positivity, we can grow a beautiful garden filled with peace and joy. Right understanding helps us nurture these positive seeds. Moreover, when we develop this understanding, we become more compassionate towards others. We recognize that everyone is fighting their battles. Just as we struggle, so do they. This perspective fosters empathy and connection, allowing us to support one another on our journeys. As we move forward, let's remember that right understanding is not a destination but a journey. It requires patience, practice, and a willingness to learn. When we fall, we must get up, dust ourselves off, and try again. Each attempt strengthens our resolve and deepens our understanding. In conclusion, cultivating the right understanding and perspective is vital for staying strong amidst life's challenges. It helps us see through the fog of confusion, guiding us toward clarity and peace. By embracing change, letting go of attachments, and viewing difficulties as opportunities, we can navigate life with resilience and grace. The journey of inner strength. Embrace the path ahead. As we come to the end of our journey together, let us reflect on the path we have traveled. Inner strength is not a destination. It is a journey that unfolds each day. Just like a river flowing through the landscape, our strength adapts and changes with the circumstances we encounter. It is shaped by our experiences, our choices, and our willingness to grow. Every challenge we face offers a lesson. It is important to understand that hardship is not meant to break us, but to mold us into wiser, stronger beings. Think of the blacksmith who takes a raw piece of metal and subjects it to heat and pressure. Through this process, the metal transforms into a strong blade. Similarly, our struggles can refine us, teaching us resilience and fortitude. When life gets difficult, remember that you are not alone. Many have walked this path before you, and many will follow. We are all interconnected, bound by the shared experience of being human. In moments of despair, we can draw strength not only from within, but also from the community around us. Seek support from friends, family, or even those you meet along the way. We are all here to help each other grow. Buddhism teaches us to practice compassion, not just for others, but for ourselves. Being kind to ourselves during tough times allows us to heal and grow. It is okay to acknowledge our pain and frustration. Instead of judging ourselves for feeling weak or lost, let us offer ourselves kindness and understanding. This self-compassion becomes a source of inner strength, guiding us through our darkest moments. As we embrace the path ahead, we must also cultivate patience. Growth takes time. Just as a seed needs time to sprout and become a tree, we must give ourselves the grace to evolve at our own pace. When faced with challenges, instead of rushing to find a solution, take a moment to breathe. Center yourself and allow clarity to emerge. Trust that the answers will come in due time. Let us also remember the power of gratitude. In every situation, even the difficult ones, there are lessons to be learned and blessings to be found. Cultivating a mindset of gratitude shifts our focus from what we lack to what we have. This shift helps us to see the light in even the darkest of times. The simple practice of reflecting on what we are thankful for each day can significantly enhance our inner strength. As we continue our journey, let us embrace the idea of impermanence. Everything in life is temporary. Our struggles, our joys, our pain, and our happiness will all come and go. This understanding frees us from clinging to the past or fearing the future. By living in the present moment, we can find peace and strength right here, right now. Moreover, the practice of mindfulness is a powerful ally on our journey. By staying present, we cultivate awareness of our thoughts and feelings. This awareness allows us to respond to challenges with clarity instead of reacting out of fear or anger. Mindfulness teaches us to observe our emotions without judgment. This practice builds resilience, helping us to remain grounded even when life is chaotic. In moments of hardship, take a deep breath and remind yourself of your strength. Reflect on the challenges you have overcome in the past. Each obstacle has contributed to the person you are today. You are stronger than you realize. Trust in your ability to navigate through life's storms. As you move forward, remember that the journey of inner strength is ongoing. There will always be new challenges, but with each one, you have the opportunity to grow. Embrace the journey with an open heart and a curious mind. Each step you take strengthens your resilience and deepens your understanding of yourself and the world around you. Finally, carry with you the wisdom we have shared. Use it as a guiding light on your path. Embrace the lessons, cultivate compassion, practice gratitude, and remain patient. Life will continue to test you, but with inner strength as your foundation, you will emerge not just unbroken, but transformed. So, as we part ways, take a moment to visualize your path ahead. Imagine the strength that lies within you, ready to be called upon whenever needed. Trust in your journey, and remember that you have the power to face any challenge that comes your way. Embrace the path ahead, and may your journey be filled with peace, strength, and endless possibilities.